Welcome to video CA4, the language of English language arts. Let's first talk about some aspects of language arts. Though most are familiar with the four domains of reading, writing, speaking, and listening, some may not realize that since 1996, two more domains have been added to the list: viewing and visually representing. These two domains were added as a response to technical changes in the way we communicate. This inclusion highlights the need for students to learn the techniques and conversations of visual language to become more conscious, critical, and appreciative readers of visual media, and to become more effective creators of visual artifacts. There are numerous potential problems that ELLs may be faced with in the language arts classroom that need to be addressed. For example, English texts are often rich in idioms and other symbolic and figurative language. They also have large quantities of homophones, homonyms, and synonyms. ELLs may be unfamiliar with how to express opinions in the language arts classroom, and they may be unfamiliar with how to make predictions or draw conclusions or other tasks asked of them. Acquisition of the vocabulary necessary to participate in the academic environment is the most important challenge to ELLs. Like other content areas, language arts has its own set of general, specialized, and technical vocabulary. Some common teaching strategies include the learning of high-frequency root words, using vocabulary journals, and playing word games. Some grammatical features of English may be especially troublesome for ELLs, such as sentence structure, subject-verb agreement, articles, verb tense, and singular plural. All of these areas should be focused on during grammar instruction. Language functions used in the language arts classroom may differ from those of everyday conversation. Sentence starters can be a useful starting point for ELLs to begin constructing well-formed academic sentences. So if we want to teach a student to comment, we can use the sentence starter, "This is confusing because." If we're teaching about connections, "This reminds me of." Disagreeing, "My answer is a little different because." And for predicting, "I'm expecting something something." The language arts classroom uses a variety of genres that may be unfamiliar to ELL students, such as biography, autobiography, editorials, newspaper articles, blogs, and poetry. There is a clear need to define and discuss expectations for each genre. Next, we'll talk about key elements teachers should consider when developing a literacy program for elementary classrooms with ELLs. Teachers should work to provide a language-rich environment that surrounds ELLs with ample opportunity to hear and use meaningful language. They should put an emphasis on academic language. ELLs benefit from deliberate and consistent academic language instruction during language arts and content area instruction. And teachers should hold an additive perspective. Teachers should consider students' language as a resource, and the goal should be to add English to their linguistic repertoire, not to replace it. Here are some strategies that students can use to better connect to and comprehend their readings. The use of pre-reading activities is one of the most successful strategies in motivating students to read and to activate and build upon background knowledge. The use of KWL charts and predictive graphic organizers are just two examples. Beginning readers need more familiarity with written text. Story mapping creates a visual representation of important aspects of a story, giving readers a stronger sense of the story, while readers' theater helps readers perfect their fluency and speaking skills by allowing students to perform dramatic presentations of their stories. Intermediate readers are more familiar with reading a variety of texts for a variety of purposes, but they may still struggle with unfamiliar concepts or new vocabulary. Strategies such as reading response journals and individual student conferences can help address these students' needs. Finally, we will discuss a few examples of effective reading and writing instruction for ELLs. For a complete list, refer to Chapter 10, Unlocking the Language of English Language Arts, from your Access to Academics book. So for reading instruction, we might use direct, explicit comprehension instruction. This is teaching strategies and processes that proficient readers use to understand their reading. When focusing on ELLs, this means model, model, model. It's important to elaborate rather than simplify. The use of diverse texts means using texts of varied topics and degrees of difficulty. This grants ELLs access to content through differentiated texts of the same topic as their native English-speaking peers. Ongoing formative assessment. Learn how ELLs are progressing under the current instructional practices. Make sure and access all language domains and provide feedback that differentiates between language and content. Some examples of effective writing instruction are collaborative writing. This is where students work together to plan, draft, revise, and edit. ELLs can practice their oral language in this situation, and they can transfer modeled language into their own writing. The process writing approach integrates a variety of writing activities into a workshop. This provides ELLs daily opportunities to write, and it allows them to link to personal experiences. The studying of models includes reading, analyzing, and emulating models of good writing. Providing models is always beneficial for students before they are expected to write independently. In conclusion, the language arts classroom, when utilized effectively, can allow ELL students to learn important features of academic language, to connect what they learn to what they know, to address multiple literacies, and to learn in meaningful ways. So, let's see what you understood. Test yourself.